Hi there folks, welcome to RRTV's live coverage of the Australian Online Supercar Championship. As you can see, we're coming to you live for round 7 from Le Mans, and we've got a sprint round here tonight, which basically means a 40-kilometre sprint race or 3 laps around this great circuit, and then an 80-kilometre sprint race after that. But before we get into that, we have a lot to cover off, well, a little bit, and then we'll take you straight to qualifying. So Daniel, we're back once again for the Australian Online Supercar Championship, and we're all raring to go after that week break.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of guys looking forward to get back on track, and thanks to all the viewers too for tuning in and watching this one. But yeah, 40 and 80k sprint races around Le Mans is going to be a lot of fun tonight.
It certainly is, and one thing that is fantastic is we've got about 59 V8 supercars out there tonight running. We're normally used to that in this great series, but I think it was a little bit of a surprise for Le Mans. I was expecting it to be a smaller field.
Yeah, definitely. We'd seen a little earlier in the week some other series only getting mid-30s sort of participant entries. So to have 59, almost full grid of cars is going to be a good sight to watch around here tonight.
Yeah, it certainly is. And as you can see, folks, they have their 10 minutes or 15 minutes quali. It's going to take them probably a couple of minutes to get around this circuit anyway. I think the race pace was around about 3 minutes. So based on that, they're probably only going to get 2 or 3 flying laps at best.
Yeah, there's not a lot of time to make a move, but with the volume of cars that are out here tonight, everyone's going to be drafting to try and get that little bit of advantage top end, especially down the Mulsanne Straight here. Probably the best opportunity to do that. But most of the sort of practice time we've seen has just sort of been under the 4-minute mark. So it's going to be a fairly long way around, and if you do have one slip up and end up either off track or finding yourself in a wall or in the gravel trap, you're going to struggle to sort of get back up onto the back of the pack again and race to the finish.
Yeah, definitely will. It's going to be draft fest out there today, but let's go through the race details for the viewers. So as we can see here, Daniel, 40/80k race. First race about 3 laps, second race 6 laps. Did you want to take the viewers a bit through a bit about the incident limit, fast repairs, and the race facts?
Yeah, so we're going to have a 15 limit or 15 incident point limit for tonight's races for both races, which is pretty generous. I don't think the guys are going to be sort of banging on each other too hard through here. We are expecting 1 fast repair for drivers in each race. The safety cars are not going to be used throughout this one tonight. Obviously, length of time to get around not really going to help us too much. As you mentioned, between 3 laps for the first race, 6 laps for the second, and then fuel capacity tonight is around 50 litres, so should give the guys enough to get home without too much trouble. We're probably going to expect to see a fuel stop in both races just to get them home at the end of this, but it's going to sort of open it up. A lot of drafting is going to be required here to sort of extend the range and get home quite comfortably, I think.
Yeah, and it's interesting, the pit window between laps 2 and 4, so we can expect them to do the start, come through. They may pit at that point or the next lap, and then of course the 80k race, they'll have a bit more of an option when they're going to choose to take that pit stop. But as far as the track goes here, Daniel, you mentioned it earlier in the intro. Where do you think the viewers should be gathering to get the most of the action here tonight?
Probably really only a few major passing opportunities. One's probably going to be up through the Dunlop chicane, which we're going to see off the start of the grid, especially with the 60 cars. It's going to be pretty tight, and as the race sort of settles in, that's probably going to be a really good opportunity. Obviously, you've got the draft capacity you're going to need down the Mulsanne, and with these cars, there's no ability to adjust that rear wing. So probably going to see a lot of guys hitting the limit, but if you can get in under the brakes into the chicanes, you can definitely make a good passing opportunity through there. The other one's probably worth noting as well will be Indianapolis, especially after the high-speed run that you take getting in through that corner, and then seeing how the guys set their car up from the high speed of the long straightaways to getting through the S's of Porsche curves. It's going to be a different ability to attack that style of corner, especially with a V8 where you're limited on grip and aero versus, say, what we've seen recently with the LMP1 cars and the other prototype GT cars that normally race around the circuit. So the guys are going to have to be wary, but I reckon they're probably going to be our key spots for overtakes tonight.
Okay, so we'll keep a very close look at that and pay special attention as this broadcast goes ahead. But I guess as far as the point score goes, let's bring that up now. We're looking at the Non-Endurance Drivers Championship, and did you want to go take the viewers through the top 5 in that, Daniel? And maybe we could let the viewers know of some of the drivers they should keep an eye on out there tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Well, if we're looking at the top 5 at the moment, we've got Cooper Webster currently leading the way on 1,390 points. Up behind him, last year's defending champ, Mullen, who's been quite quick around this circuit already just in practice. I think he actually topped the times at the end of practice 1 there. Brian Borg, consistently seen him really quick in these V8s. He's coming on leaps and bounds. He's just sitting at 1,060 points in third there. Thomas Hinz, who... bit of a regular. We normally see him up around in that top 5 in the race there, just under the 1,975 points. And rating out the top 5 is Jacob Knight on 800 points. Really consistent racer and seems to put in a pretty good run, especially in these V8s now. And in a series where consistency is the key, these guys are doing what they need to do to get up and fight for that championship at the end.
Yeah, and we've got Jamie McKnight there in 6. He'll be someone to keep an eye on as well. But Thomas Hinz, he must be one of the most versatile drivers we cover here on RRTV. No matter what it is, we generally see him out there. And, of course, Thursday night, which was last night, we were seeing him running out there in the Xfinity. And, of course, tonight he's jumping straight in that V8 supercar.
Yeah, definitely. He's a guy who likes to switch it up, as you mentioned, dabbles in a bit of NASCAR. Obviously, the V8s, we've seen him in GT. I think he also has a bit of a run at the Skip Barbers every now and then. So really loves his race and loves getting out and amongst it. And I think the ability to run in those different cars sort of helps make a slightly more rounded driver and able to sort of adapt on the fly a little bit easier as well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, anyway, I think it's time. We've got 7 minutes to go here, folks. I'm going to hand you now over to our commentary team. Calling the race and all the action tonight will be Daniel Leet and Bailey Hall. So it's over to you guys.
Yeah, good evening, Bernie. Thank you very much for that. G'day, Daniel, and hello, everyone here to the broadcast. We hope you guys can enjoy tonight's coverage here of the Australian Online Supercar Championship. As we can see on screen, some of the cars starting their qualifying laps and finishing their first ones. Daniel, it's going to be a great night.
Yeah, it certainly will. We're already starting to get some qualifying times coming in at the moment. Have a quick run through some of the guys that are set times currently top 11 at the moment. Marlon Mullen currently sitting second in the overall, leading the way on a 3-minute 57.168, so a really good time from him there. Benjamin Smith up in second at the moment on a 3:57.288. Ross Rizzo, who's come into this series really recently, driving with Trick Sim Sports. That's a new team for him there. In third on a 3:57.734. So really good consistent times. Luke Harvey, see him all the time out there, 3:58.31. We've got Michael Tallenjack in fifth at the moment in a 3:58.655. So pretty consistent times, and what we mentioned to just before, the draft's going to be a big advantage around here.
Yeah, that's right. The people who've got the draft and the qualifying will get the quicker laps around here. As you can see, about a 4-minute average, just a little bit under the drivers out there. So looking at race pace, it's going to be a quick race for the first one, being only 40 k's, 3 laps, Daniel.
Yeah, certainly will. It's going to be interesting too, especially being that the fuel window is between that lap 2 to 4. Do we see anyone attempt to maybe come in the first race? I probably don't think we will. More so play out in the second. But when you do come in, you're going to want to come in with the buddies so you can get back up to speed draft. It's going to be very similar to what we see at the likes of Daytona with the 500 and the guys picking a partner and trying to run with them for the race.
Yeah, that's right. Teams will come into factor tonight, even though it is only 3 laps and a 6-lap race. Teams will most likely come into factor where, as you said, it will be like the Daytona 500 where you'll want the draft, you want to work together and try to push your way through the field. You don't want to get left behind in no man's land, otherwise you'll be in quite trouble.
Yeah, definitely, and that's the hardest thing is once you lose that draft, you do struggle a lot. One, to keep the high average speed, and you're likely to find that the lap time will drop somewhere out of that 3-minute 58 range, possibly out to a 4 minutes. So it's very easy to do, something that the guys aren't going to want to happen, and they are going to have to look to work amongst each other to get around here. But we've got a bit of news sort of coming through as well. This week we've had a couple of updates with teams, and we mentioned Ross Rizzo with the likes of Trick Simsport, so that's a good change. But there's also been big news come out of the Redback camp this week.
Yeah, some huge news coming from them. As they've pulled on a big sponsor, Daniel, and it seems to be the LeBlanc Group, if you want to explain a little bit further.
Yeah, so these LeBlanc are a telecommunications partner. They are actually a global company, so it's a big chance for these guys with them on board, and great signing sponsorship. Obviously, with the likes of V8 and esports and all that now, is starting to attract some bigger partners and sponsors on board. So congratulations to Redback for securing that sponsorship. Welcome to LeBlanc to join the series, and I want to keep a bit of an eye out for a few of the guys that are running that in that team tonight. Obviously, we've got Chris Robinson, Mark Samuel, Stephen Varga, Dave Miller, generally the regulars we see out there, and they're going to be out there with that new livery on board, and the car's looking quite good tonight.
Yeah, they've got a beautiful car, the black and white livery, and they'll be repping that one for tonight, and then it's stated to us they'll be heading back to their other livery. But congratulations to them on their sponsorship for sure. There's about 2.5 minutes, 2:45 left in qualifying at the moment. Everyone will be trying to set their second time of the night. If they're quick enough, they may get a third one, but I don't think it'll happen, Daniel, as time is very limited around the long tracks such as this one. And as you guys said in the before we started in the race, it's a 13.6 kilometer track, so though it's a long track, it's still going to be a quick race, and it's going to be 13 minutes, and it'll go very quickly.
Yeah, definitely will, and I'm actually really looking forward to it. We don't normally see these cars run at the likes of Le Mans. Obviously, some of the quickest tracks we tend to head to are the likes of Bathurst, and getting down Conrod Straight there's probably about the quickest that these cars tend to see. But to do it on such a large scale like Le Mans, it's going to be very very interesting to see how they handle it. I'm actually looking for a lot of guys to play the strategy early on, and maybe tuck in for a draft and see how long they can sit there and extend their fuel windows.
Yeah, that's right. They will try to extend their fuel, and 50 litre capacity is not much fuel around here with the huge fuel burn they've got. So it'll come into factor fuel. It'll come into factor its speed, top end speed in the draft, and all that in between.
Yeah, definitely, and I'd love to get a word from maybe some of the viewers watching tonight. We'll actually ask you on both races, but we'd love to get your opinion on a podium finishing trio, who they're likely to be. So if viewers want to put up some comments in the chat, we'd love to sort of get a bit of a poll going on that one.
Yeah, as we say that, we're going to say hi to Steve Kirk, who's currently down watching the broadcast, and along with Larry Alla, who come in early. G'day to you guys, and g'day to everyone else who is on Facebook Live. Make sure you come check us out at facebook.com/RRTV Live. You can check out all the latest gossip and upcoming events there, along with our Twitch stream.
Yeah, definitely, and we're looking at just coming into about 40 seconds to go for this qualifying session, so we might have a quick look through the top 10 at the moment and just update everyone on where their favourite drivers are currently sitting on the grid. Currently sitting on provisional pole on a 357.168 is Marlon McMullen, defending series champ. Second position currently tonight's held by Benjamin Smith, just a tenth of a second behind him on a 357.288. Ross Rizzo, who we've mentioned a couple of times, I'm sure we're going to mention before tonight if he has a good one, sitting provisional third on a 357.734. Luke Harvey, series regular, in fourth at the moment on a 358.31. 3 tenths behind him, we've got Harley Haber, who we actually saw just before the break. He's a relative newcomer, very quick in the car, so he's another one to keep a good eye on tonight. He's looking at starting out of fifth tonight. Michael Tallenjack sitting in sixth, 358.655, so pretty close together there. A couple of hundredths of a second just behind him, we've got Jacob Knight. followed by Michael Bence in 8th. Chris Robinson, who we mentioned before from RRTV, on a 3:59.470, and running at the 10 at the moment, we got Michael Hammond on a 3:59.504. So pretty quick times, those top 10 at the moment.
Yeah, no. We've got information coming through from the producers tonight. But Thomas Hing's on the fly at the moment. He's having a good run. He's currently down quite far on the list, looking at about 44th down there. So he'll be looking to get high up the grid as possible, because where the drive's going to come in, the fact that passing's going to be still quite hard around here, as the cars are going to be very tight, short amount of passing, and, only got an X amount of turns to do it.
Yeah, car's looking very good as it got through the Porsche curves there as it comes up towards the end of this lap here, and looking pretty settled over the bumps. We normally see the All-Star Motorsports cars pretty good on their tyres at the moment, and he's doing a really good job as he's getting ready to cross this start-finish line.
Be able to see what lap time he pulls off, and he goes in 9th, but then gets pushed back to 10th position with a 3 minutes 59.351, so just under the 4 minute bracket, and that will put him in the top 10 at the moment, knocking Chris Robertson and Michael Hammond out.
Yeah, really good lap there, and I think we've said it before, Thomas is one to watch, so keep a quick eye on him and see how he goes through the remainder of this first portion of the race.
Looks like qualifying is pretty much wrapping up at the moment. About 41 cars have qualified. There's a few more out to go, but Daniel, I think it might be time to head over the grid and see where your favourite drivers tonight will be starting.
Alright, so starting out of pole tonight, we're going to have Mullen on a 3:57.168, so great time from him. Second position tonight looks to be Benjamin Smith. Third, Ross Rizzo. Starting in 4th, we're going to have Luke Harvey. 5th tonight will be Harley Haber, followed by Michael Tellenjack out of 6th. Jacob Knight's currently sitting in 7th starting position, followed by Jason Bence in 8th. Kyle Stokes has himself in 9th, and as we mentioned before, Thomas Hins jumped up to 10th.
Out of 11th tonight, the 04 car will be Chris Robinson. Starting on his outside will be Michael Hammond. Brian Borg will start out of 13 tonight, and Gary Cooper out of 14. Henry King will take the 15th position on the starting grid, with Jamie Knight sitting in 16th. Braden Bateman 17th, and Michael Cracknell out of 18th. 19th tonight will be David Kidman, as Zach Best takes 19th. So running at your top 20 tonight will now be David Kinman.
In starting 21st, we've got Mark Samuels. Just to the outside of him is going to be Matt Muggleton. Steve Lattimore out of 22nd tonight, followed by David Miller in 24th. Jaden Borg will be out of 25th tonight, with Paul Tajvara just next to him in 26th. Greg Sharp will be starting out of 27th, with Paul Preston alongside him. In 29th, we've got Scott Clark and Jonathan Ben out of 30th.
At a 31st tonight will be Luke Emerton, and 32nd will be the 13 car of Kai Sloggett. 33rd tonight will be Nick Hausler, with 34th being Colin Bruns. Stephen Vargo will start out of the P35, and out of the 26th car will be Brenton O'Brien in P36. In P37 tonight will be Brenton Belton, and Tony Gaffer will start on his outside in the 38th position. Shane Evans will start out of 39, and rounding out your top 40 will be Mark Turner.
Out of 41st tonight, we're going to have Mitch Campbell, followed by Daniel Stevens in 42nd. 43rd, and the last of the guys to set a qualifying time is Andrew Johnson. Outside him will be Jake Maloney. 45th tonight, we've got Nathan Tregarthen, followed by Anthony Waters out of 46th. Jason Mackey out of 47th, followed by Cody Trainer. 49th tonight will be Jeff Gauci, followed by Matt Morris in 50th.
So a lot of cars out there who still haven't qualified, Daniel, but the ones who have qualified, they've set some quick laps, and majority of the field's within about, I would say, about a second of the race.
Yeah, definitely. We're looking only maybe 3 to 4 seconds, covering around the top 30 odd cars at the moment. So not a big gap, especially where everyone's going to be so compressed in the race. So it's going to be interesting to see where they look to make those couple of passes. But as you mentioned, looking at how tight the field is, it's going to be a fantastic show for everyone to watch on the YouTube tonight.
Yeah, and a few more names have popped up in the chat. Sean Thompson, who, from my memory, hasn't got his name out there on the track, is repping his boy Ross Rizzo, and also Carpet Punter is going for Chapman at the moment. So we'll see how those guys pair out tonight. And as you said, Ross Rizzo is going to be up there and about there tonight. Also, we've got Harley Haber from Best Haber Industries. He's a young gun, but it's not very spoken about too much, and does a bit of, from my memory, Formula 4 racing. So there'll be a few guys to look out for tonight. But as we get ready to go, these guys will start gridding up, Daniel.
Yeah, definitely. Going to be interesting, to see how far back this field is going to stretch. I imagine we're going to have all the guys back through the chicane section leading onto the front straight. So that'll be interesting for them, starting so far back, having to negotiate a couple of corners. But the guys are going to be all forward just to see how clean everyone can get off the line here and get this race underway.
As they grid up, Daniel, I'm having a look at the 04 car of Chris Robertson, and that car looks beautiful with the LeBlanc livery on it. Again, congratulations to those guys. So hopefully everyone can have a clean race, get through the first lap nice and clean. Just reminding you guys, this is the 4080 race here at Le Mans in the V8 Supercars for the Australian Online Supercar Championship. 3 laps of the first race, and it's going to be a good one. So quickly go grab a beer or drink, and we're getting ready to send them green.
Yeah, good news. Are going to be starting to settle in. Also, a few guys are waiting to that very last minute to jump on the grid and save that a bit of important fuel and maybe keep the tyres a little bit hotter for the start of this race. But just looking at how far back this field snakes on the line, it's going to be impressive to see these guys further back negotiate their way through and hopefully avoid any undue necessary incidents and risks.
Just awaiting starters' orders at the moment, as it's going to be a good race tonight for sure, as we're going to see the front two face it off. A few names we saw out there last night, as sounds like they're under starters' orders, Daniel.
Yeah, we're just waiting for the lights to go green. Looks like the revs are starting to rise here and guys are getting underway. Good clean start from everyone so far. Looks like a little bit of hustle and bustle at the back as the guys are making their way through, but everyone looks to be reasonably well.
Yeah, Marlon got a great start there, and he was flying off the start line. He got probably the best jump in them all. There's cars are flying everywhere at the moment, trying to get as many positions up as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I did see one guy off on the outside there. I'm not sure who that was. It might have been Michael Hammond and Zach Best having a bit of a get-together there, but everyone else looks to have made their way through quite cleanly. There was a very big 2 and 3 wide action through the chicane there. Jumping back up front, we've got Marlon McMullen starting to extend that lead over Benjamin Smith. Ross Rizzo with a great start, up actually into second, so he's got away very well there, chasing down Marlon. Who we got in third? We got Luke Harvey at the moment with Benjamin Smith just next to him, and these guys are having a good little braking duel.
Not the cut. Yeah, we've got a big crash back in the pack. Thomas Haynes is gone together with the 91 car. So Thomas Haynes and his teammate from ASM, and we got a big one at the back. There's cars are going everywhere at the moment. Everyone's trying to slam on the brakes, get through the pack. And that's a huge one, Daniel.
Yeah, a lot of very good cars involved in that one. I'm not too sure how that one's got underway there, but it looks like we've got Jake Maloney involved in it, David Miller, Brett, Shelby Woods is in there, Benjamin Smith's in there. So a lot of tore-up race cars after that one. Yeah,
that one's going to definitely hurt, as just to let you guys know, there is no yellows on tonight, so unfortunately the yellows count towards the lap times, and that will take up the 3 laps. So those guys will have an unfortunate tow back to pit lane, get their one fast repair, and get back out there, try and score some points. Just jumping onto the replay at the moment for you guys on screen. So on screen you can see the massive crash that happened. We're just trying to get a hold of what actually happened to start there, but well, Daniel, what a crash that one was.
Yeah, it certainly was. I think I've got back far enough to have a look. It's like it initially started with a bit of contact from Jacob Knight in the back of Benjamin Smith, which has turned him into the wall. Thomas Hens really had nowhere to go in that one, and from there she's all unfolded. A lot of cars tore up, a few guys in the wall. Thomas has found himself up on the roof there as well.
So the officials have decided we're going to go under caution, and that's going to be very unfortunate, as these are going to be a long caution lap, but we'll be able to have a bit of more of a talk about what actually happened, hopefully. But it's pretty much looking like the top 3 at the moment are Mullen, Ross Rizzo and Luke Harvey. Got away very well. Ross Rizzo was able to pick up one position there, Daniel, so yeah, your tip's still in the books. Yeah,
great start from Ross there, jumping up into second, but a little bit unsure as to what's going on that's really caused all that in the back. Obviously, we saw Ben Smith getting turned into the wall and everyone sort of unloading from there, but yeah, not a great start for it.
Yeah, everyone duck and diving down pit lane at the moment. It's cool pit entrance there for sure as you watch them all come in. Mullen leads them down pit lane. And it looks like most of them are going to be following through.
Yeah, it looks like we have got a few guys pushing through. Looks like Paul Tajvar is going to go through. He's not taking a stop on this one. Who else have we got there? But majority of the guys have all come into pit lane.
Yeah, from what I can see, it looks like only Tajvar is out there at the moment. He'll be trying to catch up to the safety car. That could be a plan of his. I'm not quite sure, but we'll have to see what happens as these cars, once again, will go down, as we're saying, they're down pit lane at the moment for what was one big hell of a crash. And it's turned out that about 20 cars that looked like were involved in the situation.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of bent race cars as a result of that, and it'd be great if we could get a lot of the names that are involved. Obviously, we know we had Jacob Knight in there. Thomas Hins was involved in that. Ben Smith was in it. And then from there, once it all sort of fanned out across the track, a lot of the guys coming up behind at the speed they were doing really didn't have anywhere to go. And unfortunately, all over Red Rover.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate what happened there. And I might be able to see what Paul Tajvar is doing here. The caution might play in his favour here, being first on the track, considering we only have 3 laps. So the pace car's still got its lights on at the moment, Daniel, so meaning it's still got one more lap to go at least. Yeah, Paul Tajvar, we're just being told, has pulled over and come back down into pit lane. So I'm not quite sure what's happening at the moment. The 57 car of Anthony Waters is currently sitting behind the pace car, so it'll be interesting to see what's happened here. I'm not quite sure.
No, we've actually had a lot of guys also disconnect for the moment. Give me a sec. I might quickly duck into race control, see if they can give us a quick update, and we'll come back and update all the viewers as to what's going on here.
Yeah, so controversy out there on the track at the moment, guys. Everyone seems to be leaving the server at the moment, so there could be a chance that they may be they're going to rerun this race, which will be quite annoying. It's going to make it very tricky for everyone to get back in the server, etc. But we'll wait for Daniel to come back into our channel, and we'll get the information of what's actually happened out there. As it looks like the officials have taken over this one and been told in the live chat room, thanks to Mike 80 Gaming, there is a new server going up. So what we might do is cut to an ad, and we'll get not yet been told. We're gonna just see what happens at the moment, and
Righto, just ducked into race control. Looks like the safety car was actually unscheduled safety car, so we are going to have a quick pause. The guys are actually going to reset this race, reset the field. The guys will jump back in, have a quick 3-lap dash, which would conclude race 1, and then obviously we will transition back into race 2 following this one.
so we're just waiting for the server to go live, guys, and we'll get over there as soon as possible. You guys can get back into the action. But the start of the race there, Daniel, it went all right until the big one.
Yeah, it definitely was. It was some really good starts. Obviously, through the first few corners, we had a lot of 3-wide action as all the guys were trying to move and get their spots in there. Obviously, we unfortunately had the big one that's brought an end to this race. As the guys have alluded, they hit the safety car. Unfortunately, that nullifies the race, and we get organisers pretty quick to jump on this. They're going to reset and should be good. But yeah, a bit disappointing. But I think we're in for some really good racing as it was starting to unfold, especially with the way the guys were starting to spread out.
Yeah, well, everyone was starting to... Well, they've got all the cartage out of their systems now. It's time to just race clean 3 laps, get nice racing, see how it goes. Pretty much it's how it's going to roll at the moment. Is there waiting for the serve to go up. It'll be quite interesting to see the format, Daniel, if you've been told of how that one will happen.
Well, from what I can understand, it's gonna pretty much take place as originally slated. So we will have the standard 3 laps as the guys originally were going to race for race 1. At the conclusion, this obviously will be a quick reset, and the guys will jump in and transition to race 2. But we've actually just had some guys jump up into the green room, one of them being series organizer Nick Hausler. So we might get him up here quickly just to let the guys know what is actually going on. G'day, Nick. Welcome to RRTV commentary box, mate. Obviously, we've had a few issues. We'll just get your quick take on it if you don't mind.
User error, we'll say. What happened at the start of the race, there was a couple of accidents and the chat was going off, so I disabled the chat. Then as we were coming down, down the long straight and everything, I went to turn the chat straight back on, but my finger accidentally hit the safety car button.
Yeah, well, that's a little unfortunate there, but obviously you guys were pretty quick onto that, doing a quick reset of the race now. Will that fall through into pre-qualifying order, or will there need to be a small rerun of qualifying before this starts again?
Well, I'm trying to wait for the server results to come through before I can set the next server up. I'm not too sure if I can set it in the qualifying order for that or the running positions at the end of, well, effectively end of lap 1 for the grid for this race. So I'm not too sure what I can do in that regard.
No worries. Well, we might let you get back to getting that one resolved. While we wait for this, we might look at taking a quick ad break and then come back in once this one has started.
No worries, guys.
Well, before we head to a break, Daniel, what we might do is bring down someone from the green room again. We might bring down Borgie and see what his input on the start of that race was. G'day, Borgie. Welcome to the RRTV commentary box for another round of for the Australian Online Supercar Championship.
Well, that was a lot of fun, wasn't it, boys?
Great start to the race. Unfortunate to see what happened there, but how did your qualifying go?
Shocking, man. I just got it all wrong. Completely wrong.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get my telemetry back there. Just correct me if I'm wrong. Was it 20th place you started out of?
Yeah, I'm correcting you. You are wrong, mate. P12 or 13 I started.
Well, that's at least that's better than what I've had come through on my side. So it was quite the qualifying by everyone. Everyone seemed to be getting through smooth. And did you get caught up in that crash at all in the race?
No, I just seen it happening in front, so I just told the boys, back off, mate. Big accident, big accident. Felt like cold trickle, you know. You see all the smoke, and I'm like, just go straight for him.
Yeah, well, I was able to get in the background one of the ASM cars. I think Thomas Hins, like the first one I saw, and on his roof, and then it just trickled into another ASM car. Not quite sure exactly who, and then they just happened to block the track, and no one had anywhere to go.
Yeah, sure is. So, do we know what the plan is now, guys, with the race?
So, from my understanding, management guy has let us know that the new server will be going back up. We'll be rerunning that 3-lap race.
Okay.
So before we let you go, Borgie, we might bring down another person as we wait for the server to come up. Would you like to thank any sponsors while you're here?
Yeah, Opticoat Racing, great sponsor, man. Just really grateful to have them on board. It's just a great partnership to have. And also Express Vehicles, they're a company that I work for. Yeah, just supporting the racing team, really. So yeah, thank you, guys.
No worries, Borgie. I hope you have a good rest of your night, and hopefully the next race can be just as good. Hopefully better.
Yes, it feels like Tasmania last year all over again when the first race got abandoned and we all get a second chance at it.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the name as it happened. I was trying to think which race exactly it was. And, well, thank you very much for jumping in and your input on the crash.
Cheers, guys. Doing an awesome job.
Well, Daniel, I hear you're down in pit lane with the King, Henry King, and hopefully we can get an interview with him.
G'day, Henry. Welcome to the RRTV commentary box, mate. Bit of a short intermission. How was qualifying the race start for yourself there?
Qual was good. I managed to jag a reasonable lap to put me in 15th, and before the incident on the back straight there, I'd made up 5 spots off the start, and then carnage ensued.
Yeah, walk us through that. How did you find the start of that? Obviously, we saw a lot of 2 and 3 wide action getting through that first chicane. Did you guys get through comfortably at all?
Yeah, I got through clean. I had Brian Borg on my right, and we gave each other plenty of room and just cruised on through the first few corners. No incident, no contact between any of us. That was a pretty good battle there. Tucked into single file and trundled along the back straight, but people that were bump drafting decided to put someone in the fence. So
yeah, well, we're looking obviously looking forward to getting back into to race start again. Wouldn't mind getting a quick take on you. How have you found getting the V8 supercar around this circuit? Very different to normally what we tend to see them run through, but how have you found it?
tricky. The biggest thing with this track, with such long continual corners and such long straights, you got to get your corner exits right. But you just can't overdrive the thing into corners, otherwise, it's race over. Yeah,
definitely. And we were kind of making mention that corner exiting is going to be pretty particular. We kind of found a few little spots around this circuit where we think that's going to play a big part. Obviously, getting off the Mulsanne Straight's going to be a big one through Indianapolis, and then really probably having the consistency to get through Porsche curves at relative pace is going to be a big one as well.
Yeah, you can have a move into Indianapolis. Getting off of Arnage is the big one because there's another long straight after that. You can have a dive in there, but it ruins you for the next straight. So into Indianapolis, definitely look for moves in there. Guys going around the outside of the right-hander and up the inside there, but it's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, definitely will be, and I imagine you're already aware now. We are going to reset, have another crack at the 3 lappers again. Should be a bit more interesting. Hopefully, we don't have another repeat with the safety car, but you guys are no doubt looking forward to this one.
Yeah, actually, I can further that. It's not a short one. We're having a long one. I was just chatting to Nick. A little bit more fuel in the cars. I think it's a 9-lap race we're going to go for one big long one in case carnage happens again. But the pit window will be huge.
Yeah, certainly will. We kind of alluded, obviously, with the 6 lap. We're looking somewhere between laps 2 and 4 would be the window, but that may be extended out a little bit more, or the potential for a second stop somewhere along the line.
No, it should be 1 stop. The new server's up there now. But yeah, 9 laps. I think we've got 80 litres of fuel or thereabouts in the car, so you should be able to do 8 laps on a stint, just. So you could pit for anywhere from the first lap to the last lap.
Fantastic. Well, we might let you go. Get ready for the second race, mate. Before we let you get out of here, we better get a quick shout out to all the sponsors currently on board with you guys.
Most definitely. Got to give a huge shout out to Watercraft Performance Components and also zuva.net.au, and of course you guys in the booth at RRTV.
Fantastic. Well, we'll look forward to seeing you back out there again, mate. Best of luck for race 2, and we'll keep a wary eye and see how you get through.
Cheers, guys. Have a good call.
Well, Daniel, thanks for that interview down in the pit box. I'm back up in the commentary box. And while the server goes up, we're going to switch to an ad, guys. So stick around, make sure you stay around, and we're going to get back to you as soon as possible.
Well, here we are, getting back to the race action now. Server's just gone up and the guys are starting to get themselves back into it now and set up and going.
So welcome back from the ad break, guys. We hope you guys were able to enjoy the ad breaks. We had a bit of a server switch over for now, and we've been informed by race control and management of the Australian Online Supercar Championship. But we're going to do race 1 was red flagged, so we're going to do a 9-lap second race. And Daniel, a few changes have happened to the way these cars and the the fuel is going to work. We've been informed that we're going to allow 80 litres in the car now.
Yeah, so it is a bit of a change. Obviously, race has been extended out to 9 laps to sort of combine races 1 and 2, so a little bit different there now. But yeah, as you mentioned, fuel window is the big thing to change. We heard from Henry King that there was a bit of a change also, so that's jumped now to be between sort of laps 2 and 8. So will be interesting to see how the guys are going to look to play that now, and do they maybe aim to get a little closer together with team members and utilise that to get them through.
Yeah, it'll be quite interesting. The teams will have to work together, a bit like NASCAR, as we mentioned at the start of the broadcast, Daniel, where they're going to have to come in as teams, are going to work together, because considering the pit window now, they've got a bit more of a room to work with, 6 to 7 laps. And so what they'll be able to do is come down in teams, get back out there and get the draft happening.
Yeah, definitely. I was just keeping a bit of an ear out. We had Nick just in game at the moment, just giving a quick rundown to the drivers as things have changed, obviously, with the fuel and the pit windows now, so that's going to be interesting. I think we will see a short, quick qualifying stint, potentially. I don't think that's been reset yet, but if not, hopefully the guys will maybe just kick this over and we'll jump straight back into race conditions.
Yeah, it will depend on if they got the, as Nick said, if they got the server results in time and didn't want people to disappear too quickly. So there could have been the possibility that they're going to re-qualify these guys, as we'll find out quite shortly. As we've only got about a couple more minutes left to practice, and there's some fast cars getting around there still at the moment. We've got all our main drivers back in from the previous session.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think we're going to have... we may get a couple of laps set just before this one winds out, so it'll be interesting just to have a quick look at what those times sit at relative to the first server, just to see if there's any sort of drop-offs. Obviously, race 1 qualifying guys are around that 3-minute 37 range, so if anything too different from that will be interesting, just to sort of give us an idea of maybe track conditions change just a touch, or potential for difference in weather as well.
Yeah, just correcting you. 3 minutes 57 was about quick time in the last session. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if the track has changed. The drivers will now get a chance to maybe change their setup, so they realise at the start of the race that it wasn't going to work. So they might go back on a few changes in the setup, and they'll be able to see what they can do there.
Yeah, definitely. You got kind of a little bit of a saving grace here. You have the ability to make that quick change after the sessions. Obviously, they would have had to have waited till race 2 for that to take effect. So, interesting to keep an eye open. Again, now obviously we're going to have a slight change. It'd be still great to get viewer feedback on the poll again. Obviously, there's still a lot of support for the likes of Ross Rizzo getting off the line well. So, hopefully that'll still continue, and we might even see a couple of other guys. Obviously, we saw Thomas Hinton's quick at the end, might get back up there as well.
Yeah, some quick cars out there at the moment, and I can see the best Haber industry guys, Zach Best and Harley Haber out there turning some laps at the moment, and one of them just gone off the track. They're not too far behind them with some more cars, and they're not too long left on practices. It's counting down the final seconds as the checkered flag comes out for the drivers. They'll be all heading back down pit lane, and we'll find out quite shortly for you guys if they will be re-qualifying or if the grids are already set. So we've been told once again that we are going to re-qualify the cars. So 15 minutes to qualify, you're going to get about 1 lap out, which will take about 4 minutes. You might get 2-3 laps in of qualifying, so Mullen will have to back on that pole position, Daniel.
Yeah, definitely, and I'm sure a lot of the guys now are going to be on their own team radios trying to organise where they jump into this one and look for those quick drivers in the teams to pair up with and maybe use them for a bit of a slingshot to gain every little bit of advantage they can in top line speed there.
Yeah, as you say that, you see some cars are out there ducking and diving to the side of the track. Can pair up their teammates who they've been practicing with hopefully all week, as we've had other series and leagues happening throughout the week, so they've had a bit of practice together, and now they'll use that practice and get as quick as qualifying possible, hopefully get each other at the top of the grid.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just keeping an eye as the guys, as you mentioned, start folding their way through. It looks like we've got a couple of the redback cars starting to pair up in Stephen Varga and Mark Samuels, so I think the guys are going to be pretty switched on to looking for those teammates and utilising the best they can.
Yeah, the teammate game will come into fact of this race. Even along the 9 laps, it will be pair up your team and push hard till the final couple of laps, and they'll battle it out and hopefully not crash each other out, obviously. So this 9-lap race, guys, if you've just tuned into us, we have had a red flag for race number 1. We've had a few changes. We've covered the race server number 2 for 9 laps. And if you've checked out the statistics for the race earlier on, we had a 50 litre fuel cap. We're now doing 80 litres, so the pit window changes to 2 to 8.
Yeah, and that will, I don't think that'll impact anything really in qualifying. These guys are probably going to set these cars up to just have enough fuel to get it home on a hot lap here, so maybe 1 to 2 laps of fuel on board. And going to be interesting to see. Obviously, we've got a few guys in the chat hoping to see, so Sean's wanting to see the top 10, see if they can repeat their time, so that'll be a good yardstick for us just to keep an eye on as well. Jump back just to see if we've got any pairings still forming up. We've still got the redback cars up the front with, who do we have? Actually, we've got a couple further back. We've got Scott Clark and Scott Clark and Chris Robinson, teaming up out there at the moment. Looks like Mark Samuels is still on the back there of his teammate. Actually, I think he's switched over to Mick Cracknell as well, so those guys are having a crack at it now as well.
You can see all the team paint's starting to get together, and you can see them starting to form up on the grid. Racing Daytona, but we're at Le Mans, guys, just to let you all know if you knows the track yet. Nice paints out there tonight for sure. One to mark out is Redback Racing. Their new sponsorship paint is looking nice.
Yeah, sure it is. Obviously, we mentioned those guys have got LeBlanc on there, so worldwide telecommunications partner for them, which is really good to see the likes of that. Another one we made mention of early on, Ross Rizzo with Trick Sim Sportscast. That's a new team getting out there. Ross, obviously, no stranger to having a bit of a run in these cars at time, but he's on board now with Trick Sim Sports there, and they got a really nicely turned out car as well. I think that's might have been a Jake Blackwell design car, if I'm not too mistaken there, I think.
Very nice car out there at the moment. Also is the Optico Brian Borg car, the laser racing one there. Beautiful looking car. The nice authentic and the ultimate on that car. They've done a very good job with that one there. Some other cars out there that look great. It's also the Henry King, the Zuva entry one. He always does a great job with presenting his car in the best way possible for SSR.
Yeah, sure does. It looks like, going back to Brian's car quickly too, that's actually a reversing colour scheme. I think last time we saw that out, it was traditionally like a darker blue colour, so looking quite sharp in the white. As you mentioned, the other car there we had was Henry King and the Zuva one. That's another good looking livery on that car. A little different to what we saw last year with the multicolour paint jobs, but still very sharp on the eye.
That's right. Even jumping back a bit further in the 8 car, Braden Bateman's rocking a nice MFR paint. those guys have really stepped up their game over the last couple of months with the introduction to the 2018 Scops season. They've done a very good job with stepping up their game and signing on a couple new drivers. And Braden Bateman happened to be one of those guys. So he stepped up this season. Hopefully he can have a good race and get a top 10 result or even get up even further up the pack.
Yeah, definitely. The MFR cars do stand out quite well out on the field, but still waiting for the first sort of times to come through here. So probably going to have another half lap by the looks of it now before we do start seeing times post. And I'm still expecting these guys to be in that 357 range. I don't think we'll see them too far away from that at this point.
Yeah, I'll see a few blokes who get into that 357 range. I wouldn't be surprised if Marlon McMullen tries quicker and get into the 356 range. It'll be quite tricky for him, and I'm not sure if he'll be capable. Yeah, I'll definitely give it a crack in that West End Mazda PSS WPC concreting car for sure. Even just ahead of him, he's got his looks to be another WP concreting car. So those two will tag up together for sure. That's an MFR car. So a little bit of a sister team, not really, but those two will tag up together and hopefully Mullen will be able to get a tow and get a good lap there.
Yeah, definitely will. And speaking obviously of team towing, just jump back to the guys at Stealth Sim Sports here. 3 cars a little bit further away from each other than maybe they need, but those 3 working very good to get a draft there. We got Nick in there, Paul Tajfara's in there, and Nathan Tregarthen. So those guys doing a real good job to try and utilise that draft and catapult those cars up the grid as far as they can.
Shouldn't be too far away on our first lap times to come through, guys. We've got about 7.5 minutes. Fine. So we've got about 8.5. Sorry if I'm doing my math correctly. 7.5 minutes to go. We're halfway there on line, so give it about another half a minute to minute, and you'll start seeing lap time coming. And we'll see what lap times these guys will be able to do on the track.
Yeah, definitely. And just looking at where positions are at the moment, I think probably our starting points are going to come from the likes of Ross Rizzo with one of the first times out on track, and potentially Pete Sattler there as well. So those guys are probably going to look to get those times on the board to start with. But then after them, we've got a plethora of guys coming through. Zach Best's in there, Steve Lattimore, David Kidmon, Henry King, as we mentioned. And Brian Borg actually gets the first one on the board, a 3:58.52. So about 0.7 of a second off, and Marlon McMullen into the 56s. Wow.
Did I not call it? He's gone provisional pole so far. He'll even have another crack at another lap if he can try and get it better. Up there, Ross Rizzo, your favourite guy of the night, is taken second. Carly Gunn for Best Haber Industries is taking third. Brian Borg's up there. It looks like he's had a better qualifying than he did in the first qualifying flight. He's in fourth at the moment, 3:58.52. Sorry, 3:58.522. But he'll drop down to fifth as Luke Harvey's gone the third position, Daniel.
Yeah, some very good times starting to hit up, obviously. Exception at the moment, Marlon McMullen, the only guy at the moment in the 56s, and great job from him. So 3:56.980. Just behind him, about 0.5 off. First at the moment, we got Ross Rizzo, 3:57.490. And a couple of tenths just behind him was also Luke Harvey, 3:57.672. So lap times are starting to get sort of back to what we'd expect, but only a couple of guys up under the 57 range at the moment.
Yeah, well, only Mullen in the 56 range and a few in the 27. There's quite a fair few under the 4-minute mark. Top 14 are currently in the 59s or lower. So it should be competitive racing so far. 27 cars qualified so far, and the times are still pretty close considering they're about 10 seconds apart between the whole field, Daniel.
Yeah, definitely. I think some of the guys that are a bit further away at the moment seem to be running sort of on their own, and that sort of isn't what you really want to see. So like Tony Gaffer out there on his own, Nick Hoyser I think's actually back in pits at the moment. Who else do we have? Brenton O'Brien and Luke Hammond. Those guys sort of on their own, and you sort of see the difference in the times, obviously outside that 4-minute bracket. And having that draft is a big advantage if you can maintain it and hold it through this lap.
Yeah, we've mentioned time and time again this broadcast, guys, the draft is going to be key for race 9 laps. As race number 1 was red flagged, if you're just tuning in. And some quick cars going around at the moment still for a second lap. Including Mullins out there still. Paul Talanchich is still out there in the West End Mazda PSS car. And a name we don't see, well, I personally don't see at the front too often, is the Triple A Kyle Stokes. He's doing quite a good job himself.
Yeah, definitely. And he's also running sort of standalone at the moment, so to be under that 4-minute bracket on his own, he's definitely got some good pace, maybe getting really good drive off those chicanes and those fewer tricky spots, as we mentioned earlier when talking to the boys just before we got underway on this one. So he's found something in that setup which seems to work for him to run solo, but obviously if he could get a good draft, we should see that number go up and he'll jump the field a bit more as well.
So, about 3 minutes 20 left to qualifying. See Michael Hammond. He's in the 10th position at the moment. He's doing quite well out there. Jamie McKnight, who saw a quicker in first flight of qualifying, is now in 12th position in the 027 car. Another name we don't see too far up there, Adam Gardner. He's done an awesome job tonight in the Redback Racing LeBlanc car. So there's some names up there, but it's going to make it very interesting.
Yeah, certainly. Well, I just went back just to have a look at Michael's lap there. He actually had a bit of a lose getting up through Indianapolis there and snatched the brakes. So that actually called an end to his lap at the moment. I think he's going to reset. Should have enough time to get through for one more as he comes up into the Porsche curves here at the moment. If he gets a chance, he might actually be able to tack on the back of Henry King here. Those guys are pretty close on circuit, so that might help him with a little bit of a draft next time by as well. And a bit further up from those guys, we've got looks like 3 of the MFR cars all line astern as one of them ducks off into pit lane, and the guys start what looks to be their final lap of qualifying at the moment. And just to keep a quick recap on the top 10 at the moment, we obviously got Mullen sitting in pit lane, provisional pole 356.980. Ross Rizzo up into second, 357.490, followed by Luke Harvey, 357.6. Behind him we got Harley Haber in fourth on a 358.4. Brian Borg just behind him, 358.5, and sixth tonight at the moment. We've got Michael Challenjak just a tenth of a second behind, 358.6, followed by Ben Smith in 7th, Steve Lattimore in 8th, Kyle Stokes, who you mentioned before, up in 9th, and Michael Hammond running out the top 10 provisionally at the moment.
Yeah. Ross Rizzo is on his final lap. He's on your cameras at the moment. The 784 car, he'll be looking for the best car he can get at the moment. He's using all the track he can. Making sure he doesn't get that 1X, so for going off the track, he'll take it down the straight now and see what he can do. Is we'll get on board with him.
Yeah, it's a very easy place to get that 1X too as you get off onto the start of the Mulsanne straight there as well.
So far on this lap, he's got about a 1:19 lap, and it's still ticking. So he'll have a crack at this one. He'll do his best to chuck it in as much as he's got. We've got about an extra 6 minutes of qualifying added on due to all the cars still out there. So he'll have a crack at this lap and see what he can do.
Yeah, car's looking really good getting through over the curves and through those chicanes there. There's not a lot of movement, so that's going to definitely help him on the exits and runs to continue these long straights. And we'll have to keep an eye on him as he gets up to this final hairpin on the back of the Mulsanne before he heads down towards Indianapolis and Arnage. That car's really solid under brakes, not a lock wheel at all. It's a great exit, and he'll be back up into top gear here pretty soon as he makes his way down towards Indianapolis. Looks like just up in front of Ross here as well. We've got Michael Belton going through for a lap. Looks like Jaden Borg is still on there. Final flyers for this session as well. A few others getting across the line to the end there. Henry King in front, Colin Bruns, Michael Hammond. Looks like David Kidmon's just jumped up into 20th position on a 4-minute .4, so good lap from him there as well. Still keep an eye on Ross here as he's making his way across the line, pushing really hard at the moment, getting up into the start of the Porsche curves there, and just in front of him he's got Daniel Stevens in the MFR car who just smartly steps out of the way and lets him through. Looks like Ross got through there pretty comfortably as well.
Using all the track he can there, Daniel, to try and find the right line as he doing a good job of it at the moment, using the curves correctly. About 3 minutes 50 as he comes into the final chicane along the checkered line. We're waiting for the pass. There it is, as we'll get his final time, as he cannot go any quicker with a 3:57.744, about 3 tenths off his best lap for qualifying. So Daniel, with about 3 minutes left of qualifying, Marlon McMullen has got quite a qualifying lap in 3:57.981, about 5 tenths of Ross Rizzo, who's currently in second.
Yeah, Ross got a really good run there. Obviously not quite up to the pace of Marlon, but I think first time out in this series, still doing really well. I'm just keeping a bit of an eye here on a couple of finishing drivers at the moment. Jason Bentz is in the middle of the Porsche curves at the moment on the end of his lap, so that'll be interesting to see if he can progress further up on his current 5th time of a 3:58.4, so he's got a little bit of a draft in front of him with Andrew Johnson. I don't think that'll impact him at all, but yeah, pushing hard up over those curbs, and he's a little loose there just getting through the final section. Alright, we'll do a quick run through of the grid. We've got a couple of minutes here before we start. So rounding off pole position tonight for race 2, 9 lappers, is Marlon McMullen on a 3:56.9, so great job from him there. Second position tonight is Ross Rizzo on a 3:57.7, followed by Luke Harvey on a 3:57.6, so good job from him there. Michael Hammond will start outside him on 4th, followed by his teammate Jason Bentz in 5th. Harley Haber up in 6th in a 3:58.4, so good job from him. Brian Borg will start out as 7th tonight with Michael Talenjak in 8th, followed by Benjamin Smith in 9th and Steve Lattimore in 10th.
Coming out of P11 tonight with a 888 car of Kyle Stokes with 62 car in 12th of Thomas Hids. Gary Cooper will start out of 13th and Jamie McKnight will start out of 14th. Adam Gardner will start out of 15th with Paul Preston in 16th, Zach Best in 17th. Mark Samuel will start out the outside in 18th. Jacob Knight will start out of 19th, and rounding out your top 20 for tonight's race is Mick Cracknell.
Starting out at 21st will be Greg Sharp, followed by David Kidman. Jonathan Ben will be out at 23rd with Matt Muggleton next to him in 24th. Craig Jones is starting 25th tonight with Kai Sloggett next to him in 26th. 27th tonight is Henry King, followed by Nathan Tregarthen. 29th will be David Miller, and rounding out the 30 tonight will be Pete Sattler.
31st, we Paul Tarjavar, not the best lap he wanted, with 32nd being Bateman out of 33rd and Brett O'Brien out of 34th. 35th tonight will be Luke Emerton in the 90 car with the 868 of Stephen Vargar starting out of P36. 37th tonight will be Colin Bruns with the 38 car being Brett Selby Wood. 39 tonight will be Daniel Stevens, and rounding out your top 40 is Tony Gaffer.
Starting 41st, we've got Matthew Belton, followed by Mitch Chapman in 42nd. Andrew Johnson will be alongside him in 43rd, with Andrew Waters in 44th. John Latham out of 45th, with Scott Clark next to him out of 46th. Chris Robertson in 47th, with Jake Maloney alongside him. And rounding out the last two on the grid, we had Jaden Borg and I believe it was Scott Clark at the end there.
Well, here we go. We're going to get ready for race number 2, guys. 9 laps on the board, on the ticker, with 80 litres in the cars, a pit window of 2 to 8. And, well, the pit strategy is going to change up. So this is going to make it quite interesting. Your man, Marlon, pole position as they start the grid up. We'll get under starters' orders quite shortly, and we'll get underway.
Yeah, definitely, and we'll hopefully not get a recap of what we saw race 1 with the comings together down the Mulsanne Straight there, but we know a few guys are going to look to get really good starts. Obviously, the grid being as big as it is, we're actually 50 cars, so we did lose a few in the transition between races 1 and 2. The guys will be 3 wide at least, getting through Dunlop chicane there on their way up to the back of the grid's circuit. Sorry, so it'll be interesting to see how those guys get through and handle their way. Obviously, we know we got the one fast repair tonight, and potential we may see a safety car being a little longer. Hopefully not, but yeah, we're looking forward to seeing how these guys get around here for race 2.
We'll be under starters orders quite shortly. Daniel is the car getting final ones on there. Every litre counts. As we can hear them getting their gear in the gear properly. We're waiting for it to go. Marlon McMullen and Ross Rizzo will be off the front of the pole of the race tonight. As we're under starters orders now. The revs rise, and we get ready to send them. Green flag racing. We're away. Ross Rizzo gets a nice jump on the inside. Mullen up here. Side.
Yeah, great job from Ross there, looking to get across and just shut that door on Luke Harvey behind him, so those guys will retain their positions. At the moment, in behind here, we've got a little bit of bump and shove that we got there. So Brian Borg was in at a touch, Kyle Stokes, Ben Smith again in a little bit of a biff and barge at the back, but some of these guys 4 wide making their way up towards the start of the Mulsanne Straight here.
Yeah, it looks like the 555 car of David Kidman, so he's already carrying damage in that MFR car, so he's having a bit of trouble as they're going 3 wide around. There's still a long race to go. They'll start to themselves down Daniel into about 2 wide and single file down the straight. They're going to get the draft going now, looking for their teammates as quick as possible.
Yeah, definitely. A little bit of still biff going on around there. Looks like Craig Jones is getting himself a really good draft here. Alongside Mick Cracknell, those guys are making their way forward. Who was that? They got past Zach Best into the chicane there, so good run from them. Still got the guys up front here having a really good strong battle. Looks like it's settled down for the top 5 now, with Marlon McMullen leading the way from Ross Rizzo, Luke Harvey behind them, Michael Hammond and Harley Haber rounding out the top 5 at the moment.
Yeah, as you say, that was 6th and 7th, Brian Borg and Michael Tallinger. They're going at it at the moment. We follows them from there on out as all over the back bumper of Brian Borg. He got out of the corner and just got away a little bit. It's heavy on the braking going into the chicane. Brian Borg seems to have done a better job coming out of that one. And further down the field, we've got a spin. Number 42, Gary Cooper in the West End Mazda PSS car has gone round with the 100 car. I'm just going to grab a name for you guys. The Jason Bentz has gone round and he's carrying severe damage along with Gary Cooper in the 42 car. We might be able to get a replay for you guys for that one very shortly. The replay on screen for you guys at the moment. Daniel, do you want to lead us through this?
Yeah, it looks like Jason had a great run there. Came in very late under brakes. Not sure whether he just misjudged it. Got it, the rears locked up and tried to have a second grab at getting into the chicane there and just put it in the back of that car just in front of him. So not great from him. Those guys are going to drop a long way down once this one shakes out and gets underway again.
We go back to live on the cameras now. Leading Ross Rizzo, Luke Harvey, Michael Hammond and Harley Haber. They've stretched away from the field a little bit. We've got a slow car in the background. Not quite sure who it is. The 91 car of Benjamin Smith might have got to slow down as he now got Thomas Tins all over the back of him and up inside the 07 car of Stephen Lattimore. There's those three having a three-car battle now. There's a bit of bumping and rubbing between the 91 car of Benjamin Smith. Stephen Lattimore goes off track a little bit. Wow, Daniel. These guys are definitely fighting. Not giving up just yet. They've only got 9 laps to do it. It's a long circuit. But when you're out there racing around, it's going to go quick. Mullen heads past pit lane. They'll go into the final chicane for lap number 1. And we'll quickly read off your top 5 for lap number 1. It still stay the same. Mullen, Ross Rizzo, Luke Harvey, Michael Hammond and Harley will lead lap 1.
Yeah, so not too bad a start. There was a little bit of carnage a little further back. So I just caught the end of there. It looks like a few of the Stealth Sim Force cars, getting involved there. I think it might have been one of the WPS West End Mazda cars as well. So those guys probably not in the best start, and we may see some pit stops happen very soon as a result of that. But as you mentioned, up the front, really good getaway from Marlon and Ross there. The guys have seemed to really just settled into a good rhythm all the way back to Brian Borg there. So a couple of guys getting away well and getting up the ladder a little more as well, which is really good. Looks like at the moment, biggest mover, Chris Robinson up into 27th in the 04, up 23 spots since the start of this race. So really good jump from him there on lap 1.
Yeah, he had a cracker of a start there, and seems to have settled into his position at the moment now. Use the track as much as possible to try and catch up to speedster Jake Maloney, he's got the beautiful TTL car there, and he's trying to chase down. He's next in line, David Miller. Elementary's going spastic.
So we've still got a really good battle starting to shape up now up front. Ross is starting to range up on the back of Hull and McMullen here. Looking at about just on 0.2 of a second behind them as they make their way into the second set of chicanes here on the Mulsanne Straight. Really good under brakes there. Just loses a little bit off the line. Comes a little defensive with Luke Harvey there, but these three are really starting to walk away from the field now. Ross is starting to make really good use of that toe as they make their way into that hairpin at the end of the straight. As a quick look, tucks it back in line, and these three now start heading down towards Indianapolis. And not a lot really between their cars. I think braking's going to be the big gain there. It looks like Ross is maybe a smidgen better currently, but we'll have to wait and see how these tyres come in for the guys.
Yeah, that's right. Tyres will come in the factor today also, as this race compares on, as we've got a very long track. It's 13.6 Ks, so it's generally about three, even four times long as our general tracks, Daniel. So you've got to take that into fact when you use your tyres up.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't really think you're going to use them as much as you would, given how much the majority of this this track is in a straight line. So getting through the corners is going to be critical here. The guys are going to want to maximise everything they can. And we've seen already, just watching this little battle here with Ross and Marlon, you can almost tell where the cars get up onto the end of the rev limiter in 6. There's just no difference in gain, but the minute they hit the brakes, that's where everything starts recompressing again. So if you can make up a tenth of a second here and there in some of the bigger stops, that's about where you're going to have to do it to make these moves past. And just watching Ross get in through the Porsche curves here, it was a little bit scrappy that time by, and that's just opened the door for Luke Harvey to get right up on the back of him here.
Yeah, Marlon's got away a bit now. He's 7 tenths on top of Ross Rizzo, but now Luke back of him trying to get by as quick as possible. And TTR car, he's going to try and get by and chase it down. Michael Hammond fell off a little bit. He's on no man's land. As I spoke about earlier, if you don't get a tow and you haven't got a teammate to sit with, you're going to be in trouble, as he's going to start falling back now. And Thomas Hinds, who's got a tow with the 91 car of Benjamin Smith, those guys are going to start catching Michael Hammond, and he's going to be under all sorts of threat.
Yeah, definitely. And Thomas and Benjamin are going to have to work together here. Obviously, team cars, and they are getting a little bit of a train starting to form up behind them. So we've got here Thomas Hinds leading this train with Ben Smith behind him, followed by Steve Lattimore in 7th, Jamie McKnight in 8th, Harley Haber, who we actually saw up in 4th at the start of lap 1 there, has actually fallen back a little bit now. And your man Kyle Stokes just at the back of the train in 10th at the moment. So a good little scrap for these guys.
Yeah, Kyle Stokes is trying to get on the back of Harley Haber, who might have had a bit of an incident because he's dropped back, as you said, quite a few positions there from the train. But there's Jamie McKnight, he's battling through the field. We have a look back even further. Greg Sharp's hanging around at the back of the pack. There's Adam Gardner and Matt Muggleton having a bit of a battle. Matt Muggleton gets by Adam Gardner on the straight. As it goes a bit sideways, just gets a hold of it. And the O2 car of Matt Muggleton now will be getting under threat again from Adam Gardner.
Yeah, it's very, as you see there, a good example of just how easy it is to push that smidgen too hard in these cars, especially with the braking capacity that we've got. Obviously, get a little wrong on entry there, and it does ruin the remainder of that corner. But looks like both guys had a bit of a slide there, and that position sort of remains status quo. Adam Gardner's starting to work his way back up with the help of that tow there now.
Yeah, not quite sure why that's all happened. We've had Lattimore, he's passed a couple Centric cars there, but up front, Ross Rizzo was leading the race. Back by him, and the 3-car battle up the front is now starting to shape out to be a very good battle as they're switching positions, trying to save as much fuel as possible, but not comprehend speed.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I'm just trying to go back and work out how Ross got ahead there. It looks like Marlon may have got a slowdown penalty. He was very much off the pace getting through that first chicane, and allowed Ross to get right up there. But this one's sort of shaken out again. Marlon back up in front. Ross still hunting down really hard, but they have increased the gap just a smidge over Luke Harvey now, and possibly looking to try and break him off the back of this train.
Yeah, have to jump on board with Benjamin Smith, Thomas Hinds and Stephen Lattimore, because those guys are shaping up to be better at the race so far, as they've just gone switching back and forwards. One person went, Stephen Lattimore went from 8th position all the way up to 5th in a matter of a couple corners, while Thomas Hinds dropped back from 5th to 7th. So Jamie not looking to capitalise on these three battling it out as they go throughout the corners.
Yeah, definitely. And as we said, it's so easy to get these positions, so get a good exit and away you go. But really good driving from these guys as well, just to allow everyone to move around and give them the room to make the passes cleanly. And that, and obviously we know, seeing how the road sort of falls away, getting off the back end of these Porsche curves here, the guys are doing really well to retain the traction in these cars and push on to finish off this lap. Looks like Harley Haber's going to start gnawing on the back of no, he's not. He's going to take the early pit stop, so a bit of a gamble here very early on in the race. What are we, lap 3 now? So sort of at the start of the fuel window, and it's going to be interesting to see who decides to follow him in. It looks like Kyle Stokes is going to do that.
Yeah, it's going to be a gamble, all right. So their tyres are going to come into effect. I'm sure Harley's done the math correctly, and he'll give this one the best he can. Also, who jumped down pit lane's the O2 car. Not quite sure exactly who that one is. Matt Muggleton, sorry. He's come down pit lane, and along with a few more cars, the 555 car of David Kingman, the 243 car is carrying quite a severe amount of damage too of Jonathan Ben. They've come down pit lane so far. There's still a few more cars coming down. Daniel will start seeing the first lot of pit stops.
Yeah, very interesting. Harley Haber's still sitting in pit lane, so he may have taken tyres on here because both Matt Muggleton and Kyle Stokes, have both jumped him and got underway a lot quicker. So that'll be interesting to see how this one pans out. But Kyle's got himself into a good little battle here with Steve Clark in that Blanc Red Rat Racing entry tonight. So that'll be a good little battle to see how long it takes before we see the likes of Scott Clark start to make his way into pits there.
Yeah, as you say that, a lot of people didn't take tyres. My guess, Harley Haber was on the jacks for 31.4 seconds, while on the other hands of Jonathan Ben and David Kinman were only on there for about 18 to 18 and a half seconds. Some guys even on the jacks for only 11 seconds to 12. So quite a few different strategies happening out down in pit lane, and see how they end up later on in the race.
Yeah, definitely. I'm actually surprised. I personally would think tyres are not going to be a big factor around here tonight. I'm surprised we're seeing guys actually taking them at this point in time. So we'll need to keep a bit of a wary eye to see what comes of it, whether there's any sort of performance gain to be had. But at the moment, I'm not overly sure that it is the best move. Might turn our attention quickly to this battle that's going on here. Thomas Hinz and Steve Lattimore. These guys are fighting over. Where are we looking here? 5th and 6th at the moment. So that's a good little battle on hand. Looks like Steve's going to try and get up the inside as the guys make their way through. Where are we coming into Indianapolis? And yeah, good run there. A little bit of side-to-side contact that's pushed Thomas Hinz wide, but Steve very forceful to make that move stick.
Yeah, Thomas Hinz will be trying to get back to him as soon as possible and try and repay the favour. Benjamin Smith is just trying to get the toe of these guys and get away from Jamie Knight and also Paul Preston, who are also having an awesome battle at the moment behind him. As they're trying to get the toe at the moment, get the speed to get by them as soon as possible and as quick as possible.
Yeah, and as a result of that little hip check on Thomas Hinz there, Steve's been able to open that gap up. Currently sitting at a touch under a second at the moment, so that'll probably help him a little bit. He'll need to be wary. Obviously, he's got a little bit of front end damage as a result of that, so potentially could impact him further down the straight. But you know, we do have one fast repair on board, so these guys could potentially get that rectified and go out again.
As you say that, we've got a few guys diving down pit lane. Thomas Hinz, Benjamin Smith, Stephen Lattimore, and Paul Preston. They all jump down pit lane. As the four of them will go down together. And as we said earlier in the broadcast, Daniel, you want to go down in pairs at the minimum.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like we've got a few other guys that have come in as well. Michael Hammond's in here. Luke Harvey's in. Looks like Ross Rizzo, Marlon McMullen. So the top three have all fallen in and followed suit there. So that will give us a change of lead at the moment as well.
Yeah, okay. One person who hasn't pitted from that battle on was Jamie McKnight. He will take the time being, as he's still set to pit in the 027 West End Mazda car. As he's done a great job so far tonight. He qualified not the best as flight 1 he did, but he's definitely shown his pace in the race so far, with his best lap time being a 4-second flat. So he'll try and improve his times here in get as much speed and get away from the likes of Mullen, Luke Harvey, and Ross Rizzo, and try and gain a bit of time on the pit stop. While we're saying that, Daniel, Ross Rizzo's jumped Mullen McMullen the pit stop.
Yeah, he actually, just going to bring that up, he had a slightly quicker stop, about 2 seconds there, so really playing the fuel numbers well, and good move from him there to be able to jump that. Now, we will have to keep an eye on that and see whether he's going to have enough to get home at the end, but looking at the pace in Marlon's car at the moment, he's still pressuring him here, so these guys are going to have to work for it now, try and see how much they can save. Obviously, with Ross sitting in second for so long, he would have been able to save a bit. Now it might be Marlon's turn to sort of repay that favour, and it'll be interesting to see how these two work together a little more to try and, one, get themselves the win for tonight, and where they're going to feed out as far as fuel consumption goes as well.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I was going to bring that one up as we've made the halfway mark of the... we've made the halfway mark of the race, words out. A few cars still to pit, at least the top 9 who are currently on track is still to pit. They guys are trying to battle it out at the moment. There's a few of them who are out there at the moment battling out. Brett O'Brien, Chris Robinson and David Miller. They're having a good 3-car battle at the moment. There's Mullen McMullen, Ross Rizzo, Mullen front, as they're catching them pretty quickly.
Yeah, definitely. We might have a quick recap here just of the guys who haven't come in for a stop at the moment. So, current race leader, Jamie Knight, is still out there. We've got Adam Gardner in second at the moment, followed by Nathan Tregarthen in third. Craig Jones and Pete Sadler are fourth and fifth, and those are team cars as well, so look for those guys to pit at the same time. Chris Robertson there for Redback Racing, with Brenton O'Brien in seventh, and we've got Dave Miller and Stephen Varga as well, still yet to pit, but when those do cycle through, that'll leave our previous race leaders, Marlon, Ross and Luke, up front of this one.
Yeah, the race leaders are going to start getting congested. The previous race leaders, we've got about 7 cars, all pretty hairy at the moment. Mullen goes up the inside of the 868 of Stephen Varga, as he'll try and get lap traffic to help him, well, not necessarily lap traffic, but the traffic he's coming up to help him out, as Luke Harvey and Ross Rizzo are currently bumper to bumper, neck and neck, trying to get their toe to catch back up to Mullen, who is flying at the moment through the cars.
Yeah, definitely. I think nearly saw Luke Harvey get his nose chopped there by Steve Varga. Those two make contact through the Porsche curves, but Ross is really trying to stick here on the back of Marlon, and Marlon's just got to fight his way through. He's got Dave Miller and Brenton O'Brien just in front of them, and we will need to look to see those guys pit soon to take their stops for the night.
And they go down pit lane at the moment. The 04 car of Chris lane first, that will leave Mullen out in front of that pack with Ross Rizzo on his tail. He's looked like he almost got a better run out of the corner, and he did. He gets through Mullen. Mullen might have had a slow down there. Luke Harvey's going to try to capitalise on this, can't though, in the TTR car.
Yeah, just looking at that exit for Marlon, very shallow into that final corner. I think he did get a slowdown because he pulled immediately off to the pit wall there, so that's allowed Ross and Luke to get past him at the moment. And what we've got there, looks like Marlon's actually able to get back in front of Luke Harvey as well, so this little battle will just resume here, and at the moment it leaves Ross Rizzo sitting in second, and we've still got yet to pit Jamie McKnight, who's out in first at the moment.
Only 21 seconds, Jamie. At the moment, it's not looking good. Jamie McKnight, as the average pits lane time is about 42 seconds. So that's quite a difference there, and that might not have worked in his favour. But we'll have to wait and see what exactly happens. As the front 3 are battling it out quite well at the moment. Ross Rizzo leads Mullen and Luke Harvey for 4th position. A bit further down the track is Michael Hammond, who's still out in his own. Needs to find a friend and try to get some bit of pushing happening. Stephen Lattimore will follow with Thomas Hines and Michael Talenchich. Kyle Stokes will be out of ninth at the moment. He's carrying quite a fair bit of rear end damage, and Paul Preston is carrying quite a bit of front end damage. There could have been a collision between the two of those ones, Daniel.
Yeah, definitely. It's not didn't see what's taken place with those guys, but just looking to crunch a few numbers and see where Jamie will potentially fall back in. And when that stop comes through, I've got him finishing somewhere about 13th following that stop, which that'll actually slot him in between Brian Borg and Greg Sharp. So if we use the average of the old 45-second pit stop time, that'll get him in pretty comfortably around that area. Just having a bit of a run up through the field, looking to see if there's any good little battles that we got going on here. Looks like a lot of guys starting to get out on their own at the moment. There's still a little battle following some of the guys that pitted just before: Steve Varga, Brett O'Brien and Henry King. Those guys are all battling. Where are they at the moment? A little further down, I think around position 20 at the moment, so not too bad for them, but that's going to be a good little battle at the end of the race as well.
Sure will be. Rizzo has got the lead at the moment, as the three of them are starting to tighten up even. Luke Harvey's again on the back of Marlon McMahon, as this is definitely going to be the battle pack of the night, as they're going to take this down to the last lap for sure, and Marlon McMahon might. So he's definitely shown he's got a fair bit of speed tonight, as he's broken away from the two of them a couple times so far. But as we are on lap 6 of 9 so far, guys, here to the Australian Online Supercar Championship. Just going to quickly go over a few retirees. We've got Zach Bearsby, Braden Bateman, Shane Rayner, Nick Cracknell, Kai Sloggett and Brett Selby Wood have currently gone and retired. Their cars have packed it up, and Jamie McKnight has headed down pit lane, Daniel.
Yeah, saw him go off before. Still keeping a good eye on this battle with Ross and Marlon. These guys are really having a good battle and a lot of bumping and the respect there as well. So good effort from Ross to retain that lead, and that'll bump him back up into P1. Marlon sitting in second, followed by Luke Harvey now in third.
So Jamie McKnight comes out of pit lane right now. We're going to see where we see 4 cars go by. He's going to go by and come out in 12th position. So we expected him to come out in 13th. That's up 1 position we expected, and it looks like Greg Sharp will be about 6 seconds down the track. So he's come out just behind the battle pack, and now we'll have to tag on the back of them as quick as possible and try battle his way back through the field with only a handful of laps left to go.
Yeah. And just watching up front here, we still got this battle with Ross and Marlon going on. A bit of a lead change here. Luke Harvey trying to get around all 3 of them. He's jumped himself up into second position now.
Yeah, not sure what happened to Ross Rizzo there. He could have been trying to fuel save himself, as we mentioned second earlier stop, so he might not have put much fuel in, Daniel, hoping that he might have been able to get the tow and save a bit of fuel.
Yeah, definitely. But looking at sort of what we saw stop times, Luke had a stop of about 10 seconds, so a little slower than what Marlon did, but pretty well on par with Ross. So these 3 are probably very similar fuel strategies at the moment, and as a result of that, we're getting really good close racing right now.
Yeah, Luke Harvey's gained the lead for the first time in this race in the battle pack, and he's broken away a little bit, but here comes back Ross Rizzo and Marlon McMillan. We've had a good question in the chat on the YouTube channel, guys. Make sure you stick around to the end. We've got into for sure. We've had a question come in. Are you better being in first, second or third on the last lap with the draft?
Well, that's a bit of a tricky one. I don't know. I reckon probably third at this point in time. I mean, you're obviously going to have first and second having a pretty good battle there, but if you can sit in third and maybe they get a bit of a nudge as a result of that. You could possibly slingshot right past them, but you're going to need to make that move stick, probably going into or coming out of Porsche curves around that area. If you can't do it there, I think you're probably going to have to settle for your position at the end of the race.
Yeah, only a few limited spots you could probably do the move at. There's three of them. They're neck and neck. Is Mullen look like he's a run here? Is he going to be towed by Ross Rizzo? Because it just doesn't seem to be enough on it to let him slingshot by.
No, I think they're probably at about the limit of where they're going to be at the moment. Don't see there being a lot difference in speed. Marlon pretty late under brakes on entry to Porsche curves there, so still pushing on very hard.
Getting up close to the wall there, just on top of the group. As they're using every bit of the track, defending their positions. Cars rock back and forwards as they get around the corners. No, it looks like he wants to try and do something here on Ross. He's just trying to find the right time. Looked like he was going to go up the inside there, Daniel, but decided he's going to sit in behind him. We'll take the second last lap of the race very shortly. Got 2 to go with currently Luke Harvey leading the race. Ross Rizzo top 3. And it's shaping out to be a good battle pack here. Michael Hammond is a bit further back. Looks like Thomas Hinds is starting to catch up to him, so they're going to have a good battle for 4th. Stephen Lattimore is a little bit further down the track with Michael Talancic in 7th. Brian Borg has got himself into the top 10 in 8th. Benjamin Smith is in 9th. And Paul Preston currently rounds up your top 10.
Yeah, it looks like getting back up towards the front, just watching these final guys. Looks like Luke's been able to make a bit of a gap as Marlon and Ross are still going at it side by side here. I think Ross might be able to hold him off if he's lucky, but these two sort of need to get back in line and then start moving forward to get up on the back of Luke Harvey again and battle this three-way position out.
Yeah, you don't want to let Luke Harvey go too far forward, otherwise become uncatchable coming into the final track. Yes, the draft is quite heavy here, but obviously the supercars get on the top of their speed limit here, and you can't really go much further than the top of the speed limit, can you, Daniel?
No, not at all, and brakes are where it's going to be one and run, I think, but just watching the big difference in speed. Obviously Luke had a really good run getting onto the back there of Arnage, and you can see Ross under brakes bring it right down and got back up into position where if you can get a good exit here, he's pretty good stead, but at the same time you've got Marlon just sitting behind him there doing the exact same thing, and I don't think there's going to be much of a gap between these three here at the end of this one.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they let Luke Harvey here take the lead and on the final lap try to get by him. Under braking, they go into Porsche. There's you can see Mullen swiveling back and forth trying to get a bit of air on the front of the car. There's not too long to go now, guys.
Just put another question back out to the guys just to get their thoughts on the finishing position for this one. Obviously, got 9 possibilities of how it could play out. Having said that, these three could all take themselves out. We might even see a surprise here from the likes of Thomas Hinds or Michael Hammond behind them as well. And Ross has got himself back into the lead of this race through Indianapolis. There's a really good drive from him, but it's put the door open for Marlon. But Marlon looking to have a go up through Arnage there, and really wide.
Set him 3 wide as Mullen side then. Made it quite interesting for sure now as Ross Rizzo will take the... And then Mullen is they're sending it 2 wide again. Luke Harvey's going to go on the outside, but he'll get the inside move here as Ross Rizzo will slot back in behind him. Another lead change. And wow. Oh wow, we're coming up on the final lap shortly. There's We're just seeing who in the chat's going to pick their 1, 2, 3 for the podium.
Well, looking at this, we've got, I'm assuming that's Bernie, he's given us Harvey for the win. PSS are looking at Marlon, Luke, and then Ross, so a little bit interesting, that one. I wouldn't be surprised if we maybe see Luke, Ross, Marlon potentially for the race win.
Yeah, well, Luke Harvey's done himself pretty well. He got past back Ross Rizzo pretty quickly, so he's shown he's been able to get back past him if he does get up the inside and get around the corner. But it'll be just where Mullen and Ross Rizzo decide to pass. We go white flag, the final lap of this 9-lap race here at Le Mans, here on the Australian Online Supercar Championship.
Yeah, still status quo hold. Luke, Ross, and Marlon. Marlon's still pressuring hard on the back of Ross there and not giving an inch, but it seems to be helping Luke just sort of extend that gap a little further. And now we get up to the quick stuff, and I'm sure we're going to see these guys potentially 3 wide. Marlon's going to have a great tow in behind Ross there, making their way onto the back of that as they start their run down the Mulsanne Straight.
Wide, Ross Rizzo on the outside, Luke Harvey. This could favourite Ross Rizzo here, might get a better run out of the corners, gets a bit sideways. Mullen goes in the back and Ross Rizzo into the big hit to the front, not too much time, he's going to get back on the gas as quick as possible. But now it's Luke Harvey and Mullen battling it out for the win. As Ross Rizzo, Thomas Hims even is battling down the front. He's trying to catch Ross Rizzo while he hasn't got full acceleration.
Yeah, it looks like a little bit of a loss there. Got it in a little hot, trying to go the outside move there on Luke and just lost the rear end. I don't think there was anything in it from Marlon, maybe just a slight tap, but that wasn't intentional. And as you say, we've now got Ross dropped back into third and starting to come under a bit of pressure from Thomas. So a bit of a disappointment there, but still got a good race to finish this one off up ahead.
Yeah, Mullen looks up the inside, puts his nose in there, backs it out. There's heavy braking, gives him a bit of a nudge around the corner and says, "G'day, I'm here, I'm not going anywhere."
Yeah, we're absolutely on the limit of the brakes there. Nothing left in that at all. Just duck back to see how Ross is doing. He's still got that gap over Thomas and Michael Hammond just behind him, so potentially he will hang on and get third. But up front, Marlon with the charge coming back up. Luke trying to go up the inside through Indianapolis and weaving all over the road behind him.
Not much left of the track to get this pass completed. Mullen do it quickly. There's Luke Harvey's finding all the right lines of defending.
Yeah, Luke's got a good drive getting off Arnage there. I don't think Marlon really had anything in it, but he will get that toe. Hopefully can look to stick it up the inside as they make their way into Porsche curves for the final time tonight.
He's going to have to go deep under braking if he wants this one to work.
As the boys settle in, last run through Porsche curves, pretty comfy. Not too much effort getting through there. Marlon pushing up hard on the back of Luke Harvey at the moment. They make their way through that final left-hander, which is, again, off camber. Pretty difficult through there. And these chicanes now are going to be this final point where they have their last chance.
Mullen looked like he was going to go. Can't do it. Final chicane, can he get the run off the corner? Gets a bit sideways into the fan. And your winner for the Le Mans Australian Online Supercars Championship round will be Luke Harvey.
Yeah, Marlon Cunningham in second. We had a change for third with Thomas Hinz getting it over Ross Rizzo and Michael Hammond as well. So disappointing for Ross dropping from second there to fourth, but well done to the podium. Good result and good race finish. just jumping back on board here, just to watch this pass with Luke, with Ross Rizzo and Thomas Hens, and looking at that happened just into the start of Porsche curves there. It looks like Thomas got a better drive through Arnage for it. Yeah, we had Ross struggling with that car at the end there. Couldn't quite get it pulled up and squared off that corner, and Thomas was just able to get the drive and make that pass, but good effort to hold position into fourth there. Disappointing he didn't get the win or the step on the podium. It was a great drive from him tonight. He'll be bitterly disappointed.
Yeah, very upset he will be tonight. But again, congratulations to our podium. A great drive by Luke Harvey, being able to fend off Mullen McMullen and Ross Rizzo for the final 3-lap race, and continuing. He held on throughout the whole race and showed what he was worth, and in the end it came out on the top.
Yeah, not a bad race tonight. A bit different, obviously, with the Le Mans circuit. Not possibly maybe the most suited for these cars, but good to sort of break the norm and get out with something different. And while we wait for the finishers to get over the line, which I think they've all done now, we might start having a run through the driver lineup, through the grid for the end of this race tonight. Coming home in first tonight, Luke Harvey, well done to him, followed by Mullen in seconds. Great drive from those two. Thomas Hins, surprise third, with Ross Rizzo coming home fourth. Michael Hammond finishing fifth tonight, with Steve Lattimore behind him. Brian Borg started where he finished, up in seventh, with Jamie McKnight coming home eighth. Ninth tonight was Paul Preston, and Kyle Stokes home in 10th.
Big move of the night. Jake Maloney comes from 45th to finish 11th out of 12. Finishing 12th tonight will be Michael Talenchich. Out of 13th, finishing 13th tonight is Benjamin Smith. Coming home in 14th, Matt Muggleton. Greg Sharp come home in 15th tonight, with Nathan Tregarkin coming home in 16th. I've butchered that name. 17th tonight was Pete Sattler. 18th was Craig Jones. 19th was David Kingman. And rounding out your top 20th tonight was Jacob Knight.
21st, you said Jacob Knight. 22nd tonight, Jonathan Benn. 23rd, Brenton O'Brien. Home in 24th was David Miller. Chris Robinson up 25 spots to finish in 25th, with Jaden Borg in 26th. 27th was Gary Cooper, followed by Jason Bentz in 28th. Matthew Belton in 29th, followed by Henry King in 30th.
In 31st, coming home tonight, was the number 123 car of Colin Bruns, and 32nd. 33rd tonight was John Latham, and 34th was Luke Emerton. 35th tonight was Stephen Vargar, and 36th was Mark Samuel. 37th tonight come home was Nick Hausler. Michael Chapman come home in 38th. 39th tonight was Anthony Waters, and granny at your top 40th tonight was Tony Gaffer.
In 41st, we had Daniel Stevens, followed by Andrew Johnson in 42nd. Paul Tejvara in 43rd, with Harley Haber dropping down 38 spots to 44th. And now we're getting into the retirements for the night. So we had Brett Shelby Woods getting home in 45th, 46th with Kai Sloggett, Mick Cracknell in 47th, Zach Best in 48th. 49th was Shane Rayner, and 50th tonight was Braden Bateman.
Well, Daniel, rounding the top 50 cars, it was a great battle tonight for the win. We saw some awesome battles, especially for about the top 10 between positions 5 and 9 for majority of the race. Those guys were neck and neck, battling at switching positions and trying to find the right line through every corner.
Yeah, definitely a lot of good battles taking place tonight. Obviously, a lot of our attention was focused on that top 3 battle with Luke Marlin and Ross. But yeah, take nothing away. Thomas, Michael, Steve, Jamie, Paul, Benjamin Smith, all those guys had great runs there, and really good little train of cars getting involved in that as well.
Yeah, we saw Thomas Hins. We saw the likes of Lattimore, And those guys, Jamie McKnight, Paul Preston, they all got into a nice battle there early on in the and then settled in quite well in the end.
Yeah, definitely. And we've got a few guys up in the green room at the moment, so we might get them in. We might start with Ross Rizzo and get his take on the end of this race. G'day, Ross. Welcome to Double Over TV commentary box, mate. Disappointing in fourth, but really good race all night long.
Yeah, that was an exceptional race. Marlon was on phenomenal form all night, and I didn't think anyone would be able to beat him. So the fact that Luke and I were able to sort of work together to make sure he didn't skip away was phenomenal.
Yeah, definitely. We saw a lot of lead change with you guys. Give us a bit of a rundown. How did you find the car getting around the circuit tonight? And talk us through too that little bit of an incident at the end there on the final lap.
The race, it went. It was just intense the whole time. It was just kind of like high-speed chess, and kind of using Luke as kind of. I think we were trying to both use Luke as kind of like a wedge between the two of us to see if we could try and make a break. And kind of thought I had the three of them in the position I wanted them going into the chicane. I mean, not getting the ridiculous wheel spin that I did, and the rest is history. And yeah, there was nothing in that with Marlon. I was all shapes and sizes, and I was probably going to find the inside fence anyway. So seriously, props to Marlon and Luke, top driving. We didn't make contact all night until that part, and Marlon even says the 0x didn't come up on his screen. So there's nothing at all in that. So that was phenomenal driving.
Yeah, definitely. Very entertaining from all of you guys. We were kind of surprised to see you all keeping in top of each other and watching where the pit stops took over. But obviously, change of scenery for you. A bit of a team change recently. Jumped across to Trick Sim Sports. We'd like to see you guys running this series a little more often.
Martin's thinking about running the V8 a fair bit more often. V8's definitely something I hold close to my heart, but GT3 is where my main passion lies, so hence the switch to a more of a GT3 specialist team. But you can't. It's hard to turn down a drive in this car, especially at a track like Le Mans and a field like this. So had to give it a crack tonight, and was thrilled to be towards the top tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Well, again, mate, congratulations. Shame we didn't see you up on the podium, but fourth, still a great result. I might hand you over to Bailey and see if he's got any questions before we let you guys get out of here and turn your attention to SRA tomorrow night.
Yeah, Rizzo, congratulations on the win, mate. Fourth position. Jeez, it's a good night for me tonight, I can tell you that. Yeah, you pretty much you had an alright race. You were doing really well. You're keeping up with predicted. Might have skipped away a little bit with had about a fifth of 5/10. Get my words out tonight over qualifying. So you had a good pit stop though. Yeah, 2 seconds less than the on the jacks. Did you take a bit less fuel?
I only needed enough fuel for the tires. Really, I did the calcs and I knew that the fuel would actually finish before the tires. So as soon as the tires were done, dropped and went. And actually following Marlon in was a bit of a scary moment in itself because I wasn't expecting it. Lost to the rear end a little bit, and then I could have sworn he was going to get the unsafe pit entry with the way he entered that. But looks like he just held it together. He's got phenomenal car control, that kid.
Yeah, he's definitely done perfect. Well, congratulations on fourth. An unfortunate end for you. Have you got any sponsors you thank?
Yes, thank you very much to Trick Sim Sports and HPP Simulations.
No worries, Rizzo. Congratulations, fourth.
Thanks very much.
Well, Daniel, in the commentary box next, I heard you're down with Thomas Hins in pit lane.
But obviously for him you don't. Oh, sorry.
G'day, Thomas. Congratulations, mate. Sneaky third. Give us a bit of a recap on the race tonight, buddy.
Yeah. I'll try and make a smooth transition from being mid-conversation. Always the risk though. No, it was good fun. Started 12th in that second race. So the first race was 10th, and then unfortunately got caught in that massive crash down the Mulsanne. So it was kind of good that we ended up. In the end, it was good for me that we ended up restarting anyway because I was pretty boned after that. So we did, of course, qualified slightly lower than the last race for 12th, but still, thereabouts, and just kept it clean. off the line, some great battles with Benjamin, teammate, and Lattimore as well, and Ignite and all of the guys there. Some awesome battling at the back end of the 10, and just managed to sort of pick the way up to about 7th or 8th or so, and pitted roughly when everyone else did, and just pretty much just all pretty much stayed the same, and just made a couple of moves, got by Lattimore to get up. I think it was about 5th at the time, and 6th at the time. No, 5th, 5th at the time, and then seemed to be catching Hammond, so just kept plugging away, and managed to get to Hammond with a few to go, got the move done, and I thought, 4th will be it, and then saw Ross have the incident on the relative, and here we go, this might be a cheeky podium if he is a bit slow. Looked like he had actual damage, because I think he hit the wall a pretty decent hit, so I was going along, and then after Indianapolis he went a bit wide, and I think me and Michael nearly followed him, but we managed to keep it together and managed to get the run and just get it done before the end of the lap. So I wasn't expecting a third. I would have been happy with the top 10, but I'll take a third, and it was good fun. I was skeptical seeing Lamar on the calendar for the V8s, but with the right people in the right frame of mind, it's a lot of fun. As Luke Hovey was just mentioning there, he before I came in, he mentioned it's a bit like a big NASCAR track in a way, which I think is a very good description there from Luke. So it was a lot of fun, and better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, definitely, and we were sort of mentioning that earlier on. Obviously, with the length of the straights here, you do need a sort of partner to get around and keep the pace up. And I think we saw yourself and Ben Smith come in for stops at similar times.
Yeah.
Did you find that helped you guys being able to push back up the field later on?
Yeah, I think it definitely helped. Yeah, because the draft's just so strong. I mean, when I got past Hammond, he had a slowdown, I think, the last chicane, and I think he put the burners on. He wanted to get back to position, so he really pushed in that last lap and got back in the second. And once he was within draft again, you can push all you like, but it's pretty hard to break that unless they make a pretty decent mistake. So it does definitely help. Unfortunately, Benjamin had some issues there with, I think, some slowdowns and just some moments later on, but still managed to get top 15. So well done to Ben on that. And it definitely helped. And it's going to be really interesting for Monday with the official soft how that all works out, because it could be a really key thing, and that race could be really, really interesting. So looking forward to it. I don't think I'd say that. I saw Le Mans and I thought, no, I'm not going to race that, but now I have. I thought, well, you know what? It's actually not too bad. So I'm actually quite keen for Monday night.
Fantastic. Right. Well, again, congratulations on third. Before we let you head off and enjoy the celebrations, we've got to get a shout out from the sponsors in the team.
Yeah, indeed. So obviously Rat Corp and Cash Centric have joined the Cash Centric gang now from our meters, running the old Cash Centric livery, which looks awesome. So big thanks to them for their continued support of the team as per usual. Just big thanks to the team again for having me on. Loving it. Still kind of baffled that I'm at a team like ASM, but it's really helped me out, I think, mentally and all that kind of thing. And as always, big thanks to you guys for the broadcast. I'm sure it was fantastic, and can't wait to have a look back at it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, again, congratulations on third, mate, and we'll look forward to seeing you back. I think it's next week. We're at Sonoma, so we'll catch up with you there.
Yep, sounds good to see you there.
Well, guys, you've just heard from your third place winner. That was Thomas Hines. We're going to bring into the box now here in pit lane, McMullen. McMullen, welcome to the RRTV commentary box. Second place tonight. You've done a wonderful job. Give us a recap of your race.
Yeah, g'day guys. Thank you so much. It was an absolute stonker of a race. I loved it right to the end. It was really awesome battling Ross and Luke, because this track, as long as the straights are and all that, you just get no time to think. And the only time you sort of think you can make a move is really out of the corner before the start of the straight. And I was really sort of waiting for my moment to strike throughout the race. And you never want to be the car at the front, because they're just going to draft by you at a million miles an hour. But at the end of the day, I did my best, tried to stay behind Ross, and he got a little bit crossed up. I didn't know really what to do. I don't know if I touched him or not. I'm so sorry if I did, but I did all I could to try and get around him, and have a really good battle with Luke towards the end. And how good's that to finish half a second after? I don't even want to imagine how many kilometres a lap is around here. But it's quite a long race, but it's really fun.
Yeah, you did a wonderful job tonight, even after qualifying 5/10 up on the field. We kind of expected you might have blitzed away a bit, but the draft definitely played a factor tonight. When you guys were hitting the top speed, you guys were able to pretty much stick together. You guys weren't really progressing too much onto each other's bumpers like I kind of expected myself. But Luke Harvey in the final laps was just able to get by. Well, before I let you go, I'll hand you over to Daniel. He'll if he's got any questions for you.
Cheers. Thank you, Bailey.
Yeah, g'day, mate. Congratulations on second place. It was really entertaining battle with you guys. Probably the only question I've got, well, actually, I've got two. We've got a new livery on the car. Did that make you any faster?
Absolutely. Every time, you get a new livery, you want to do as well as you can with it. I've ran it for a couple of weeks now, and I think I had a win last time at Bathurst, and that's good to always, break a bottle of champagne over the car, and, the team's not too angry at me for damaging a panel, but at the end of the day, you got to enjoy it when you can. But now, at the moment, when you get a new car, you don't want to scratch it, in all honesty, and it makes you drive faster because you don't want to touch anyone. You just want to hit the best apexes you can, and I don't know, when you have a nice livery, I think Peter Brock said, you just drive it faster.
Yeah, definitely. But no, look, it certainly stands out well on the track tonight. The last question I got for probably a little more technical. Obviously, the main straight you don't get a lot of advantage other than a bit of a draft. We all know that. But how did you find setting up the car to get the most to get off those chicanes and the slower corners? Did you find that a hard thing to balance between getting that right and then being able to flow the car through the likes of Porsche curbs without it sort of stepping sideways on you as you got out of that?
I think this week I might have focused too much on the single lap sort of pace because, I mean, as you said before, I was half a second up. Even in the earlier qualifying session we did, I was still ahead, even of... can't remember who drafted me, but one of the ASM cars, which is a big feat around you. If someone drafts you to stay in front of them, it's not easy. So I knew I had a bit of pace over the one lap, but in the race, it didn't matter because once you start drafting each other, it's just so hard to break away. You get a slow down here, you get a slow down there. But one thing I did find, actually, in all honesty, I don't know if I was on a different gear ratio or a different, maybe the toe-in was a bit different because I definitely couldn't go as fast as the other two boys. So I just hit the limiter before them, and every time I got, towards the end of, I think that the first long run, the first long straight, I'd run out of breath way before they did. So I don't know if it's the double draft even, but yeah, there wasn't much I could do. So at the end of the day, all you can do is really focus on your run out of the corners. And, I was absolutely over Ross's clacker, as close as I could be, as clean as I could be for so long, and just trying to wait for that one moment. And I sensed that moment, he ran a bit too hot and with Luke, and I really tried to take advantage of it, and he just, I don't know really what happened to him. He was a bit out of control. And then I got scared. I didn't know what to do. So it's just one of those moments which I'm glad it wasn't too bad, but it's a really good battle towards us. But he had lots of fuel. He just, I think, ran out of tyres. But I put so much pressure on Ross, but he did such a great job all race.
Yeah, well, you guys hardly separated the entire night. I think the only time we really saw much of a difference in you was on the exit of pit lane, and I think you might have gone slightly longer on the fuel, about 2 seconds or so. But how did you find balance of fuel at the end? More than plenty in the tank at the end of it?
Had too much. Had way too much. So I think I took maybe 0.3 or 4. It shows you just 0.3 or 4 of a litre. It's too much, and you can just lose, your lead. But at the end of the day, coming out of the pits, even though Ross was in front, I just caught him on that first lap because of the draft. So that's, and I was saying to Luke earlier on, or he was saying to me, you can have a mistake here, and even if you get a slowdown, you're still back, with the pack if you can really work yourself up to it. Because as soon as we battle, we're just losing time. And even Thomas Hinz, I was watching him on the relative creeping up under the 10-second markers. So it's just one of those tracks. You really want to race hard, but you remember that you're losing seconds as well. But at the end of the day, that's what I love tonight. We had a really good, clean race, and it's good to finish, behind Luke by only half a second. So he drove really awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Well, mate, before we let you get off out of here, sorry, better get a shout out from the boys on the side of the car. But again, congratulations on second place.
Yeah, thank you. Just trying to get those points bit by bit. But thank you to Western Mazda for all the support. WPC Concreting, obviously the team at Performance Sim Sport and all the boys. In the quali, they really tally, and I think David Kimman, who's in the MFR, so our sister squad. They really helped me with my quali lap. They didn't impede it, which was really important because I obviously got pole. So that was really good of them, to sort of sacrifice their lap. So I thanked them. Night Rider Designs for painting the car. That's who painted our car. Motion Performance Exhaust Centre, and of course GDH iRacing Images.
Fantastic, mate. Well, again, congratulations, and we'll look forward to seeing you back out on track again next week at Sonoma.
Cheers. Thank you so much, guys.
Well, guys, that's your second place finisher tonight, Mullen McMullen. we've got one interview to go, and that's going to be with the winner for tonight. That's going to be Luke Harvey, and we're going to let Daniel down in the pit lane kick this one off.
G'day, Luke. Welcome to the RRTV commentary box, mate. Congratulations, race win tonight. Well done.
Hey, Daniel. Yeah, thanks for that.
Give us a bit of a rundown, mate. How'd you find it out there? It looked like yourself and Ross and Marlon are having a fairly good humdinger of a battle there. Not much between you guys at all.
Yeah, that was a blast. I just planned on just sitting back and watching Ross and Marlon, just keeping tabs if Marlon made a bit of a break, which is hard to do around this track, but if he made a bit of a break, I was planning on trying to go with him, but in those first 4 laps, just it was a matter of saving fuel. I got 3 slowdowns in the race, so that didn't really help, but yeah, I think the fuel that I saved in those first 4 laps, I was able to catch back up, and then yeah, trail them, and then I thought with 2 laps to go, take the lead and just see what happens, and yeah, thankfully I was able to hang on.
Yeah, it looked like the car was very well set up getting up over the bumps. Didn't look like it was really unsettling you too much there. At the end of things, how did you find the fuel loads were for this one?
Yeah, I felt pretty good on the bumps. Mainly my setup was just for straight line. I didn't really care how it went through the corners because I knew it was all about the straight line. So yeah, it was pretty much based around that. But the fuel loads, I didn't really notice too much of a difference, to be honest. But yeah, like I said, just I thought a little bit of save in that first stint might have bode well for the second half of the race.
Yeah, definitely. Well, mate, congratulations on first place. I might hand you over to Bailey. I'm sure he's got a couple of questions before we let you get on out of here.
No worries, thanks.
Yeah, g'day Luke, congratulations on the win tonight. Magnificent drive tonight. You are having a little bit of trouble early on in the race, I noticed. You kept dropping behind Mull and Ross Rizzo, but yeah, the draft must have helped you a fair bit again, catching back up to those guys. At any point in the race did you feel like you might have been a bit too far away to get the draft?
No, I was pretty happy hanging around that 1 second mark behind because I was sitting on about half throttle down most of the straights after about halfway, just trying to save as much fuel as I could, knowing that, you know, if you're within sort of 1.2, 1.5 seconds on the straights there, you can catch up within a lap or two. But yeah, I wasn't planning on getting 3 slowdowns, so that threw a spanner in the works. But yeah, thankfully with the fuel I'd already saved, I was able to catch back up in the stop.
Yeah, well, those slowdowns really don't affect the race too much unless you gather a few too many up. But who are you mainly getting those slowdowns?
Right on the last chicane, it was just, yeah, I think my line, I'm a bit shallower there on the entry, so it probably just triggers the slowdown a bit more than other people.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, Luke Harvey, we're going to let you go, but before we do that, would you like to thank anyone tonight?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank my new team. It's my first win for TTR, so thanks to those guys for their support. Obviously, thanks to Hybrid Racing Simulations, Harrop Engineering, Leo Bodner, and Kirst Designs Lab. Yeah, well done. Congratulations once again, to Luke Harvey, your race winner for tonight, guys. Well, Daniel, it's been a wonderful night here. A few hiccups with race number 1 being red flags, but the administration of Australian Online Supercar Championship got onto it pretty quickly and were able to get underway with race 2.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, as you mentioned, a bit of a unfortunate incident with bringing the safety car out for race 1, but yeah, really quick action from organisers to restructure, extend the race out, sort of encompass both sprints into one, so slightly longer than what we initially expected, but no, really good effort on their part. As a result, obviously, we saw some great racing out there tonight, and you know, take nothing away from the guys at the front. The guys at the back were pushing equally as hard, and while you know, we didn't see them up on the cameras as much, some of the battles going on further down were very good. So you know, I think everyone, once it sort of settled into it, really got into a good rhythm there. Yeah, that's right. Well, everyone's done a great job tonight. We do thank everyone for turning up to the track and everyone who supported us tonight. Make sure you do check us out on facebook.com/RRTV live, and also to go follow us over at twitch.tv/RRTV live. Sorry, RRTV live.
We'd like to thank Bernie Williams for the cameras tonight, Daniel Layett for also commentating with us tonight. Pretty sure, well, not pretty sure, we've got another event tomorrow night. We've got the RacingLeagues.com GT Series tomorrow night at 7:15 p.m. Bernie Weemers and Weehan Chan will be commentating that one. Daniel, from my knowledge, we've got an Australian Online Supercar Championship race next week. When will that one be?
Yes, it is. So we've got another, looks like another 40-80 split, so another sprint round for the guys. Be looking probably similar start times, obviously, to what we saw tonight, but that will be at Sonoma on the Cup layout. So for the guys who love watching a bit of curb hopping, that's going to be the race to watch.
Yeah, I remember last year that was a very good race. It was very fun to watch too. I remember myself and Bernie were commentating that one. That race went over in a blitz. There was a lot going on, a lot happening. Awesome race to watch in the long run. Well, Daniel, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I might sign off there. Again, thank you to all the viewers tuned in to watch this one. Again, and thank you for your time and patience while we had the adjustments with the server take place. Yourself, Bailey, for jumping in and helping co-commentate this one with me. And as always, Bernie Williams behind the camera is doing a great job. Try something a little bit different, which seems to be working quite well, but a little different. Give him a break from wearing out the voice every weekend. So thank you to you guys, and look forward to doing it all again next week with this.
No worries, guys. As we sign me off tonight, my name is Bailey Hall. We've got Daniel Lay co-commentating, Bernie Weemers on the cameras. We wish you guys the best of luck, and hopefully we'll be able to see you guys tomorrow night in the GT. Good night.